Welcome to Watch Symposium. I'm Austin. Aftermath. All right, well, I came back to the hotel last night, and am I finding my legs today? In a manner of speaking, I mean, I have different feelings than I would otherwise. I probably would have buyer's remorse today. Don't have that. At the same time, this isn't the video I was planning on making, all right? I was planning on sitting here with a green box, all right? Anyway, yesterday I ended up coming back to the hotel. There's a supermarket close by, so I stopped by, got some pretty good food, some sushi, sashimi, some deli meats, cheese, olives, and I watched Little Women and cried a little bit. Not because of the movie, because of the Rolex, of course. All right, not really, but what I want to do in this video is just fill in some of the gaps in yesterday's video. And if you haven't seen yesterday's video, you gotta watch that first. Link in the description, be sure to check that out. And in short, I'm here in Osaka. I came to pull a trigger on a watch, but it didn't work out, all right? So the watch in question was the 116710 LN. That's the all black, discontinued ceramic GMT Master 2 on an oyster bracelet. Polished middle link oyster bracelet, and I was looking for a stick dial, all right? Well, it wasn't that I was looking for a stick dial, but I thought I had found a stick dial. Let's talk about what a stick dial is. Okay, so the 16710, the pre-ceramic GMT Master 2, came out occasionally with something known as the stick dial. Now, GMT Master 2, the 2 is usually written in a Roman numeral, all right? It's got the top, the 2 bars, and the bottom. And on occasion, it came out in what is known as the stick dial configuration. The dial's completely the same except for this one aspect. Instead of having the Roman numeral, it has just 2 bars, okay? The top and the bottom of the Roman numeral are gone, and that's known as the stick dial. And there's some controversy about, what is a stick dial? Some people think it's a service dial. Others are not so sure. I'm under the not so sure camp, but I don't think they're service dials, okay? We'll say that. But I don't know. Rolex hasn't and won't ever tell us what exactly a stick dial is, and maybe Rolex didn't even mean to make them. So anyway, we're not going to get any answers from Rolex. But that was the 16710 pre-ceramic. Now, the ceramic all black 116710 LN on occasion also had a stick dial, all right? And it mostly was the V versions, okay, the V serials, which came out in 2009, almost always, okay? Now, when it comes to the ceramic all black GMT Master 2, there are actually 3 variations in that numeral, all right? The first is the common Roman numeral, all right? The second is almost as common. It's not too hard to find, but it's basically a rectangular shape. If you can imagine the way on Roman numerals, the top and the bottom kind of hang off the bars, all right? Well, the part that hangs off is sort of clipped, and so it has this rectangular shape, and I think those might be called rectangular dials. I think there might be another name for them, but you got more or less half the Roman numeral, half the rectangle, and then the stick dials were a rarity. Now, I don't know where this figure comes from, but it's estimated that of all the all blacks, 5,000 have stick dials. So it's relatively rare considering the number of all blacks out there. And I thought I had found one, all right? Now, I've always respected the all black. And, I've had my issues with the polished middle links, but it's a watch that I've thought about adding. I've come to like it. I don't know if I would like it as much as the pre-ceramics, probably not, but it would be a new experience for me. And now is the time to get a 116710 LN if you want, because they experienced a price hike when they were discontinued up to 16,000. That has dipped, right, as I predicted it would. And now it's sort of leveled off, and we're going to see organic price rises going forward. I think I've seen them go for 11 or 12, and I think in the future they're going to go up. Now, I found this on the internet bad picture, but I thought I saw a stick dial. And essentially, the prospect of owning a stick dial all black ceramic GMT Master 2 pushed me over. I don't know if I would have ever gotten or ever will get the ceramic all black GMT Master 2, but this swung it for me because it checked off a lot of boxes. It had the box. It didn't have the papers, not a favorable thing at all. I would like the papers, especially with a collectible piece, but again, it was one of the cheaper ones in Japan, and it had, I thought, this dial anomaly. And so I thought, great price, unpolished. Of course, it doesn't have the card, but eventually it would have service papers, next best thing. And the real key and the real thing that swung me was the stick dial. Now, what do stick dials go for? Well, here in Japan, there are a handful, probably 5 or 6, and the cheapest one is 1,570,000 yen. That's about $15,000 or $16,000. Now, this was about 12 and a half. So even though it didn't have the card, still a great deal. Is the card worth over 3,000 USD? Probably not. And look, the card is really important if you want to sell it in the future. For me, it's not that big of a deal. And did I want this to sell it? Not really. I wanted it to enjoy it and have it and experience what a ceramic piece is like with a modern movement. And I just thought it would be really cool to have something on the dial that was different, that really set the watch apart and made it special. When you own a watch, it becomes special. But then when there's something arguably intrinsically unique about it, I wanted to walk around and be able to look down at my watch and think, you're really special, not just because you're my watch, but because you've got those sticks, you're unique. And so that was the rationale behind it. Now, it's kind of interesting because this was a random serial, and the random serials came out in, I want to say 2011, all right? And if you trust the internet, then pretty much all stick dials are V. And so when I saw it was a random serial, I thought, oh, this isn't a good sign, this should be a V that I'm looking at. But of the ones here in Japan that are for sale, the stick dial all black GMT Master 2s, most of them are V serials from 2009. One is an M serial from 2007 or 8. And then one is a random serial number. And so I did find another random serial, and I thought, wow, well, this is even more special because it's a stick dial. It's not a common stick dial V, not one of those pieces of crap, right? This is a random stick dial. So all the more of an anomaly. And there you go. It didn't work out, and faced with the watch, it was immediately clear that I was looking at a Roman numeral version, and it was unexplainable. I got the staff to pull up the watch and tried to show them what I saw, and I kind of think they understood, but these women running the shop, it was just sort of a little bit over their head. Probably they were like, okay, you came to Osaka to buy this watch, and we're looking at this green Roman numeral 2, and you've got an issue with it, so you're leaving without the watch, okay? But, again, they're not watch ladies, I don't think, all right? Keep in mind, this was a pawn shop, and that's why I thought that the stick dial slipped by unnoticed by them. They're not really specialists. A stick dial, all black, ceramic GMT, it would be immediately recognized in Nakano, Shinjuku, these watch places in Tokyo, and these watch shops. But these pawn shops, in my opinion, probably because they're not specialists, they're selling bags and watches, and they're selling used goods across the board, probably price according to the model on Rakuten in general. They probably say, okay, well, this is a box and papers or no box or whatever, and they find a comparable piece and they price it as such. And so I thought they just didn't have the knowledge to recognize this was a stick dial, and that accounted for the low price, all right? Now, you're probably saying, Austin, you should have gotten him to take a better picture of the dial. To be honest, I didn't want to jinx it, and I didn't want to bring too much attention to this watch because they start focusing in on the dial, and then, some person in the shop says, those numerals look a little strange, and then the next thing I know, they're saying we had to pull the watch because we mispriced it. I know you came here, sorry. We'll give you first right of refusal when we up the price by a couple of $1,000s, right? So I didn't even want to have that happen. And again, you'll see the pictures that I saw, and I'm seeing sticks here. And I guess it was the way the pixels organized themselves, and it wasn't the case. Well, there you go. Interesting story, I hope. Interesting series of events. I kind of enjoyed my little getaway to Osaka, and if I had a stick dial to show for it for the low price of $12,500 USD, arguably it would have been a slightly better trip. But I will say this: when you spend a big chunk of money like that, which it would essentially have drained my watch fund, then it sort of takes you out of the shopping game, and it makes you commit to that watch that you've bought, which, again, I was willing to do, obviously. But when you have your watch fund still able to be used, it sort of brings the fun of potentiality to looking at watches, because you know that I could get that watch, or I could pull the trigger on this watch, or I could pull the trigger on this watch. And if I had gotten it, then for the next couple of years, I wouldn't have been able to really buy anything. So now, my future is sort of open as far as getting another watch. I've got, the watch fund hasn't been immediately drained, so I guess that's a good thing. I still have the potentiality of purchase, and again, that makes life kind of fun in another sense. Maybe not as fun as having a stick dial, maybe more. When it comes to getting a 116710 Ellen in the future, I don't think I'll ever get a regular version. For 48 hours, mentally, I lived with a stick dial version, and it was pretty nice. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I don't think I could go back to the regular. Does that mean that I would pay $3,000 more? If you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I'd say absolutely not. But now I don't know. I'm not sure. It's a special piece, and really it's all about how a watch makes you feel. Now, is that little bit or little lack of paint worth thousands of dollars? It depends on who you ask. For some people, absolutely not. You're talking insanity. For other people, yeah. For me, it was more not about just the value, but it was about the uniqueness of the watch. And look, are prices going up? Yes. Will prices skyrocket on the stick dial all black ceramic GMT Master 2s? I don't know. It's funny because I saw a sub 14060M, new old stock, stickered, box and papers, everything, a couple years ago for $11,000. And I thought at the time, man, I remember I was riding the bus and I thought, this is really expensive. They were going for, I don't know, 8 at the time, maybe 7 or 8. And I thought, it's too much. But you're going to think back about this point in the future, Austin, and very likely it's going to be going for more. And now they're selling for, I want to say 9 or 10. So the idea of paying just $1,000 more for a stickered 14060M, we're here, and of course when I think about riding the bus and seeing that, I think, wow, just like you predicted it, you're looking back and you should have bought it. And will I look back at this video in the future when, all black ceramic GMTs are going for well over 15 and the stick dials for even more, and think, you should have snagged one of those 15,000 plus stick dials? I don't know. I'm not sure. It's a great question. Let me know. Do I need to get one while I can? I will say this. I'm probably more inclined to splash out for a stick dial than a regular. So I don't know. I mean, am I immersing myself in the Kool-Aid? Probably. But yeah, interesting. Going forward, I'm not sure that I really want to concern myself with regular pieces. There are a lot of interesting pieces that I've stumbled upon, and I think here's the real key. If you take anything away from this video, you can get an Explorer 240 millimeter, and if you're on the fence, but then you find one at roughly the same price, but it's got a thin frame dial, that's something special. And the thin frame dial means that the indices, the frames, the gold frames are just a little bit thinner. What about a 14060M with the frogfoot coronet, or as I prefer to call it, the tiara coronet, because it looks like a tiara? Well, if you're going to buy that watch anyway and you find that version, you might as well pick it up. Both of those I have found in Japan, and I wasn't in the market for that particular model, but if I had, that would have been what pushed me over. Like I said, the all black GMT, I've been on the fence. The sticks were what pushed me over. Those pieces with anomalies are always kind of interesting. Rail dials, stick dials, cream dials, tropical dials. Things that make what's an amazing watch even a little bit more amazing and unique. So, hey, we had a good time, didn't we? And I hope you enjoyed these couple of videos. I enjoyed making them, and I enjoyed the soap opera. And I ain't out of the watch game yet. Don't you think so? No. There's a purchase coming at some point in the future, and it's going to be special, whatever it is. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed this. Take care, and I'll see you next time.